passionate about Cleveland sports.
He's going in, touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
A swing and a drive! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jared Watson.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Andy and Jared, Cleveland and Beyond. This is our Cleveland Browns and other sports weekend update. I butchered that. This is why I need to start writing my my lead-ins down, I think, Andy. What's going on, man? How's your day?
Just living the dreams. Finally sunny here in Connecticut, ready for some baseball. For people who did not get a chance to, you can listen to our baseball preview that we did last night. You can listen to it there. And, yeah, I'm excited about the Indians, and then obviously excited about what's going on Sunday with our Browns. And there's one break. I know people have been complaining about the times, and it's not been great for the Indians. At least the Indians and Browns don't play on Sunday. So it'd be nice to have one instead of having both, which I don't like in October.
I don't like that either. I'm already exhausted as it is.
Right.
I mean, emotionally drained. That would be a definitely a draining Sunday. And I'm guessing a lot of folks are probably happy about that. They don't need to go into work on Monday, having faced two of these games on Sunday. Andy, so you mentioned the times. I want to just bring that up real briefly. All of them are early. And, of course, as I spoke with Ashley Collins from STO earlier about, there's that love affair with Yankees, Red Sox. It's where the easy money is for the networks. Can you even be mad at this point, or is it just a waste of energy? I mean,
I'm probably the one fan that's going to not be the most popular thing. I totally get the Yankees Red Sox thing. I think it's a fantastic rivalry. It happens. I don't think some of these times are fair across the board, but I get it more, and I'm more patient with it than others. I wish the Indians were not playing at 1 o'clock on a Monday. I will say that. And 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock's rough today too. I'm not going to say it's easy. But I'm more patient with it and more understanding about it because of the importance of that Red Sox Yankees thing. And it's a big game, and I've heard people disagree with that. I'm very on the opposite opinion. Yankees Red Sox is a big deal.
All right, I'm still pissed.
No, I am too. Like I don't like the times. Again, I'm not defending it. I understand it.
Yeah, there is an argument that the growth of baseball is hurt by not opening up to the other markets, especially with some of the names involved in the fact that it's last year's World Series winner.
No, how about this?
I'm opening the can of worms. I did it, and I don't regret it.
I'll go down this road one time. You're right. Where I get more bothered by was 2 years ago when the Red Sox and Indians were playing, and they had all these times. I did not understand that. They gave the Yankees the Yankees really got the golden. Was it the Yankees? I forget who was in 16. But anyways, the Red Sox. Oh no, it was the Cubs. That's right. So the Red Sox and Indians got all these same crummy times that they did this year in 18, and that bothered me a lot because again, you should be flipping back and forth. Yankees and Red Sox is very unique to me. It's just very unique. I love the Indians. Again, the 1 o'clock Monday time's rough. They got to change that. What I would actually argue for baseball is putting more times where they run into each other. Meaning, I would not be opposed to like the Indians starting at 4 or maybe even 5:30 and having the Yankees and Red Sox go on at 7. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I actually would like that.
Well,
I actually would like that a little.
I'll leave it be for now. We can have that. We can. Well, I'll complain more about it when we talk more about what happens after game 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. Again, Monday at 1 o'clock, I agree. That's bad. The rest of them, I think it's.
It felt like a slap in the face after already knowing what Saturday and Sunday were, or what Friday and Saturday were going to be, and waiting on that to be decided. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, they release it. Yeah, no, we really don't like you. Right. We're going at 1 on Monday.
Friday at 2 o'clock's not kind. It's not kind. Saturday at 4:30, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well.
I was gonna say I don't have a problem with that. Monday 1 o'clock's rough. But I actually want to cue you up to something. So, what is your opinion? You and I have been talking a lot and flipping it now to the Browns.
Right.
This is the NFL roller coaster. There's no games that go back to back and back to back days. So you have a great win and then a bad loss, and now you get to play, a team that moved out of your town called the Baltimore Ravens. Coming to town. I mean, perfect sandwich situation. It's amazing when you're winning. You're talking about your young rookie quarterback and your young talent, and when you're losing, and appropriately so, I think they talk about Hue Jackson. It's been a big topic of conversation this week. I'll let you kind of tee up first. What is your thoughts? Playing what we talked about last time.
Let's go. Let's put this on a micro to the macro. So this week, the things that will get in the way of the Browns winning this game are, one, their pass defense is going to be an issue. Number two, the Ravens' pass defense has the potential of making it very difficult on Baker on Sunday. Terrell Suggs against Harrison is going to be a matchup that might not favor the Browns. The history of this team losing 18. I think the Ravens are like 18-2 in the past however many years.
Steelers and Ravens have really owned our.
So we don't win divisional games, and special teams is a mess. Now, every single one of those things that I brought up go directly to, again, the big picture of what Hue has done with this team over the past 2 years. I am at a point, and I'm surprised that I got to this point, and I think that I got to this point by seeing what Hue does with talent. And it seems, and we've talked about this, with talent, we still get nothing. We get the blown lead. We get another new way to watch the Browns lose. We get lost opportunities. We get
strip sacks.
You get penalties at inopportune times. And I've complained about this. I've griped about it. The same lack of focus. And I finally am at a point where I don't care that the players, that's always the argument, the players love Hue. The players love Hue. Well, no crap. When you get away with that garbage and you're babied and coddled, like it seems that these guys are on occasion. Joe Hayden was one of them when he was here. That would spout off for him, and then, but still, didn't perform at times. Hue is the issue at this point. You didn't bring in Todd Haley and Greg Williams for nothing. Dorsey knows what he wants to do. The question is, how much longer do you allow this mess to continue until you finally pull the trigger? Because the argument is that some will make is, well, who are we even going to have lined up? Well, look no further than your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator. Now, you can make the argument that Todd Haley has made his mistakes as offensive coordinator through the first few games of this season with play calling. We've seen plays where you wondered whether Hue was the one actually pulling the trigger. But it's time. It's time, Andy. It's time. In my opinion, the time has come, and I will admit it, and I need all of Cleveland to admit it as well.
Well, I mean, I'll go back. I mean, we didn't start this podcast start the year. I would not have started with Hue Jackson over the spring, let alone now. Again, nice man, good man, but Hue just has not coached his way to anything, in my opinion. But, okay, that aside, he's our guy right now, and he's in charge. It's a big game for Hue Jackson. There's going to be, I think, several more of these games coming up. This is another big one here. The Oakland game didn't feel that way. The Jets game felt that way, and the Ravens game feels this way. I think he needs this game. This is an interdivisional game. This is your second home divisional game. You got to win these games if you're going to start improving the culture and everything else. The Charger game's on the back end, and that's an AFC team. But this is the game that has a lot of weight. And let's be frank, it's a team that moved away in 95 that still stings this town. Stings me. I hate the Ravens. I hate losing to them.
I drive into downtown Baltimore on a regular basis. I did it today when I had to go to my VA appointment this morning. And I don't drive past M&T Stadium without flipping the bird every single time. That's just me. It's just what I do. I come right down 295, and that stadium gets the finger.
It's pure sports. This is not personal. And I mean it. I'm sure they're good people over there. I like Ozzy.
Absolutely.
But you know what?
Absolutely.
You know what? Screw off. I don't like the Ravens. I don't like losing to them.
No.
I don't
like their colors. They're stupid. And the rat birds. They're rat birds. That's what I call them.
Rat birds, appropriate name. They're a vile team. So this is a big game for you, and you kind of teed it up, and we talked about in the last podcast. Going into this week, what has really opened up my eyes are two things, which you and I hit on, and has been picked up not just locally, but more nationally. One, what is going on with special teams? That's been a big fixture this week. The special teams have just been, they've been bad. They've had really one good half against the Jets, and that's it. They've really not performed outside that. The field goal kicking situation seems to be better, but we have no return game. And we certainly have a hard time stopping teams, and we have penalty flags over the place. We realize at the end of the day, offense and defense controls the game, but special teams and teams like this, and I've heard Tony Grossi say it, and I'm a big believer in it too, when you're this close, your special teams need to help you push you over the edge to get the victories, not pull you back into defeats. And I think special teams, which need to be magnified, has been this week locally, and I'm glad to see that. And I kind of parlays into the guys really had a rough week media-wise is Jabrill Peppers.
Yep.
I get guys who have complaints and, fans are tough on me. And sometimes I think it's very fair. I think there's been times in the past where us as Clevelanders may have been too tough as on players and stuff. But Jabrill Peppers and what he said, and just to give people some quotes, I took this from a Tony Grossi article.
No, I've actually got a few quotes pulled up too. Go ahead.
Peppers, I see what everybody's saying. You tell me what the problem is. You all know so much. Everybody that don't really know me, the nuances of the game, don't play the game, don't coach the game, don't know. They just see it from the outside. But we know we're here to block. We're a block away. I'm not just tripping. This is just Cleveland. And there's more, and I kind of skipped over some other parts. But he went up and followed up today and doubled down yesterday by saying he thinks it's a Michigan thing, that's ludicrous. There's been so many players that have come through the Browns over the years that have been Michigan players. We even have a quarterback.
We somehow like Baker Mayfield after what he did.
Exactly. You took my thunder. Exactly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
I know it's good. The Jabrill Peppers thing, I don't want to hear it. Make some plays. Jabrill to me is the first player this year is on watchable tilt. And what that term means is he's freaking out. He feels the heat. He's not doing a good job on special teams. And frankly, he's on that point. David Njoku as well. Time to make some plays. Time to make some plays defensively. Time to see him may contribute on the field. And I just don't see that from Peppers. I don't think the fans have ever been so kind to him. But it's not a Michigan thing. It's not anything, Peppers. It's coming down to we don't think you're making plays. And your returning punts, returning kickoffs has been really bad.
Yeah,
really bad.
Period. Well, I don't feel safe leaving. I have to walk around with security now. When has Cleveland ever really been that bad? We're not Philly,
Again, Jabrill, it happens more in the Browns than any other organization in Cleveland. Players tilt, and he's tilting. I mean, he's freaking out.
He tried to clean up his comments a little bit. There's another ESPN article Pat McMenamin put out, basically him just saying that, we understand the city of Cleveland loves their Browns and wants to see us get back to how we're supposed to be. That's just the NFL. They love you when you're doing good or not so much when you're not. Okay, great. Now who's wishy-washy?
Peppers needs to really – he's put out his messages. I actually don't think it's even to the point now, don't worry about it. Play now. Make some plays. Win some games.
Yes.
And all that other stuff goes away. Don't explain your comments anymore. It didn't work out. Yesterday was not a good day.
Explain it on the field. If you want to have a chip on your shoulder over it, that's fine by me. Take it out on the Ravens. Don't take it out on fans.
Agreed. And again, it's not a Michigan thing. So that was a big story this week. And then the other one, which I think actually should be more of the story, which I think as you and I, Jared, we go down, this is just football. Terrence Mitchell's out for the year. Yeah. So now, and he's had a really good start with the Browns this year and really contributed on some turnovers. So now you're going to start seeing the second layer. Is that
Gaines? They got to move the Gaines kid in, right?
Yeah, more Body Calhoun out there. Yep. You're going to start seeing the second layer. And again, these are good backups, but these are now backups becoming starters and playing major minutes. That's going to be a big thing in this game and for weeks to come. I mean, this is where I don't know how the Browns are doing. I don't feel as good about that as I can say the first layer. The starters and what I see on a starting 22, you want to call it, maybe starting 25 of your roster, Browns have improved immensely. I don't know how that second layer is doing. And we're going to find out.
Well, does that make the pass rush this weekend that much more important?
We'll find out. The pass rush is always important. And that is something that needs to be brought back up. I thought Myles Garrett played well. He played great. He needs to play a little better.
Yeah.
But I want to see Ogunjobi go back to what he was doing those first 3 games. Emmanuel Ogbah's been out with an injury. Boy, I'd love to see him have a big game, right? I see him sack the quarterback a couple times. Avery's really playing well. I'd like to see him put more pressure on the quarterback, but putting pressure on the quarterback is such a big thing in this league. Outside of your Derek Carr, who does get up the ball out fast, most guys like to sit back there and really pick teams apart. Carr's unique. He likes to get the ball out fast. That really killed the Browns. I think that's what led to their defeat and partway what happened last week. So pressure is so key in this game. But I want to see now, we're going to get more and more in the year, how are the players who we've seen in the past, are they improving? Are they still kind of, bottom of, not great, not making enough plays to win games? It'll be interesting because you're going to start seeing, again, you mentioned it, the Body Calhouns and the other people coming in and making plays in this game. We kind of alluded to it. The Ravens had a great week coming off. They beat the Steelers on the road, 3-1. A lot of people are really pumping up the Ravens. A lot of people are picking the Ravens to win this game. Flacco, we don't need to go down the list. Their running game is really not taken off yet.
No, but usually when do running games take off? Sundays against the Browns.
Yeah, Kamara. So far this year, Powell really didn't take off for the Jets, but Kamara did.
Yep.
Certainly. Now his name slips me for a second. The Oakland running back.
We're talking about Marshawn?
Marshawn Lynch. Yeah,
whoever that guy is.
Yeah, he tore us up. And then the young kid for the Steelers tore us up in game 1.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 4 weeks we've had a running back go off. And I think significantly honestly, all 3. Kamara really, really tore us up too. So I don't even want to give a pass.
When we break that down, when we're looking at the run defense, and I haven't delved into this too much. Is this an issue on the front, on the line? Are the linebackers not filling in at the right spots? I don't get how these gaping holes seem to open up. Almost as much as I don't understand how the secondary was so oblivious to what Derek Carr was doing on Sunday as well. But
what I see is a defense really homing in on passing game. And when you do that, you're going to have things leak, and the Browns' leakage has definitely been on the. Again, I think
their original mindset is they're okay with allowing some of the run, just not the big plays.
Yes.
But
the Browns have done this the last 2 years with Greg Williams. Chunkage of yards doesn't bother Greg, just no end zone. They don't mind teams driving over the field, and that was my last point. The Ravens, even in their wins, and in their win last week, they didn't get in the end zone a whole lot. They had long drives. Yeah. They had consecutive drives in the second half, late in the third quarter going into fourth, of 11, 12, and 14 plays. Those are long drives. They didn't have field goals, but it really took all the momentum away in that game against Pittsburgh. Yeah. So my point being here is if you're going to allow the running game to go, or if you're going to allow the short passing game, which is kind of what the Browns have been doing, that does play into what the Ravens have done. So they have to shore a little bit of that up. I'm not saying you can stop it or they're not going to, change what they're going to do. But the Ravens have kind of played that system of like, if you're going to give us first downs, we'll take them. And then we'll kick field goals and beat you that way.
And on the opposite side, I guess that's okay with Greg Williams because this Browns offense, as much as they don't click on a handful of series back to back, at times, they are capable of big plays and scoring very quickly with especially when you look at Chubb or when you look at, if Landry breaks away. Those possibilities are there. So I guess maybe that's why he's okay with it.
Yeah. We're kind of bearing the lead with the offense. So the hit on the offense, Baker Mayfield, another big game, first divisional game for him. So it's a big start for him.
Yep.
I want to see him play against a team that has, John Harbaugh and the Ravens hit hard. They play hard. We know this team very well, obviously. Want to see how he handles that kind of pressure. Would love to see the Browns run the ball more if they have a lead. I can't stress that enough throughout the year. They don't run the ball enough when they have a lead. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the running game become a little bit more. I'm not saying they have to go 50-50, but I want to see more running plays in certain situations. I just do. I just don't think they're doing it enough. And then the other thing I want to keep my eye on, the Browns had a lot of drop passes. Is that just a one-game thing, or is that going to continue? And David Njoku needs to really start playing well too. We mentioned Peppers, but I think David Njoku is another one. Really want to see more out of that guy. Really think it's key for him to really start playing like a player who was drafted at the end of the first round. Not a guy who's at times just disappears. And even when he does get the ball, half the time he drops it. The other thing with the Ravens, too, this is Ozzie Newsome's last year's GM. He looks like he's going to be staying within the Ravens. It's kind of wishy-washy how that's going to end. But, obviously Ozzie's a big fixture for my generation and yours, too, playing tight end. Really nice guy. Really strange still to see him as the Ravens GM.
It's never felt okay with me.
No.
And he took a lot of heat from it early on.
He had to take the job. And I love Ozzie, and he did the right thing. He had to take the job. Had to take the job. You get a GM job in the NFL.
And look what he's done with it. He's turned it into quite the legacy. I know. And
again, it's hard to say that, and I love Ozzie, but people got to remember when he took that job, the Browns had no team. It isn't like you can't wait around for a team to come back to 99. Hate saying that. I love the Browns, but I totally understand why Ozzie took the job of the Ravens, and he's made it into a career. He's done a great job with it. So with all that nipped in the bud, we didn't really touch upon the Ravens defense, but the same old characters, Terrell Suggs, guys that hit hard, play fast. They've not given up a lot of points in many of these games so far. They really did a nice job against the Steelers. I mean, no Le'Veon Bell. So maybe I'll take the lead here. All that being said, I've seen really nationally, everybody's picking the Ravens, and a lot of people seem to think the Ravens are going to be now maybe the Colt that gets out of the barn first, even before the Bengals. Looks like they're now the favorites to win the North. I'm going to go back to my old school mind thinking and not be a Lander, but be an NFL guy at the Vegas tables. This game is set up for the Browns to win.
Yeah.
The Browns came off a terrible defeat. No one thinks they're doing well. State of confusion in Cleveland. No one likes the Browns this week. The Ravens just went on the road and beat Pittsburgh. They're on a roll, blah, blah, blah. I think the Ravens will actually be a little overheaded in the first half. I think they'll come out flat. I actually think the Browns are going to win this game. I think they'll win by 10. And
you got to score for me because I've got one.
I think it's going to be 30 to 20. And I really think
I'm a little
the Browns
over on that. I'm 35-28.
All right. I think the Browns, I think Mayfield will keep playing. I think Mayfield will be able to lead this team, even with Hue Jackson. I think he'll be able to get this team out of the mud and really put them to victory. I think this is a special kid we have in our hands. I think he'll be able with the home crowd to get behind him. I think the Ravens are going to come out flat. I love the fact that everybody's picking the Ravens this week. I like it even more for that reason. So even with everything we just said, and we know we've been crapping on special teams and crapping on Hue Jackson, I really think this is the time where the Browns, with a great quarterback, with Nick Chubb, with Carlos Hyde, with Callaway, with Landry, I think they make a lot of plays. I think the defense does enough where they hold a lot of field goals at times. I think the Ravens will get chunkage yards, but I think they will come out hot. I think the defense is going to really hit Flacco hard in the first half. I will not be surprised if the Browns go up quickly, like 10 or 14-0 in this game. I think they're going to be playing on the house on hair on fire, and because of that, I think the Browns win. Again, I'm sure people think I'm crazy, and next week if they lose 20-0, I'll say I'm crazy. But that's how I really feel, even without being a Browns fan. I think it has Browns written all over it.
Well, great. So we get to drag out the Hue Jackson show even longer. I mean, I
don't think it's going away. I think there's more games to come. The talent level on this team is too good. I guess that's the other thing I noticed in this team. This is not the same old Browns. Whereas you got Hoyer and other people, I think this team's just too good and too talented. Yeah. I think they'll win the game.
No, agreed. Like I said, 35-28 is my call. I think they come out hot. I'm hoping that Nick Chubb gets at least again, you said not 50-50. I'm not looking 50-50, but maybe 8 to 10 carries, a couple extra series in there for him, for crying out loud. And I'm still baffled by you've got really young guys. I don't know whether it was Doug Deacon brought this up. I think earlier that I heard where you've got young kids like Callaway getting all these targets, and you're early on, and you're wondering, well, where's the experience of where's Duke Johnson in any of these calls? Why is he not being utilized? You're talking about a veteran who's been here, who on a consistent basis impresses with the ball in his hands. Yet you're you're focusing your offense a lot on Callaway, who hadn't even played, for a while and is still really young. What's the purpose of that? You've got to make the adjustments, I believe, and shift that a little bit.
I'll leave this on this note. I think Duke Johnson's another player who's not found his groove yet this year.
Is that what it comes down to?
I do. I think he has not found his groove yet. I'm not, compared to the other names, Duke Johnson is not to me a concern. I think he just has not found his groove yet. I think this is a very different offense from what he's used to. We have dumped down forever. We're not dumping down as much anymore. And that's going to affect his numbers. That's going to affect his play.
Yeah.
I think he just has not found his groove yet on this team. That's how I leave with Duke Johnson.
Maybe he'll find it on special teams.
Maybe. By the way, I've been hearing that rumor. I think at this point there's no stone unturned. Moving quickly to some other games real quick. I'll do this every week while we do it.
Yep.
I'll pick 3 money line games I like this week. Again, please don't bet your house on it, but hey, if you want to, and you're really looking, and you don't want to throw darts at a wall, I do like the Browns this week. I'd never bet with or against the Browns, but I would take the Browns this week in the plus series. I think they're going to beat the Ravens. The other 2 games I like, there's nothing more fun than watching a team that kind of comes down back to earth, and the Seahawks have really had that this year.
Right.
They've really not played. Russell Wilson's a talented quarterback. It's a bizarre year. They just lost Kendricks. They just lost Earl Thomas. I love the Rams in that game. They're -7, but I would take the points and take the Rams. And then the other game, this is for a special friend of mine. I really think the Raiders are going to get squashed by the Chargers this week. I know the Chargers play in a soccer field, but they will have, let's say, a bicycle kick here or 2 against the Raiders on Sunday. I think the Chargers are set up for this game. The Raiders came off a big emotional win. I know the Raiders won and they made enough plays, but truthfully, at the end of the day, I wasn't really that impressed with the Raiders. I'll take the Chargers -5. So Rams -5, Chargers -5, and the good old Brownies +3. Those are the games I like. Other games to kind of watch, keep your eye on, is Jags and Chiefs. That's a great game this week. It's really amazing how you got a team like the Jaguars, defensive-minded, and you really take a team also that's based on a running game. No Fournette, by the way. He's out with an injury again. The Chiefs and their young gun Mahomes, for people who didn't watch it on Monday night, Mahomes is a special player. This kid's got a lot of talent on him. Really good.
Yeah. That was one hell of a game, and Mahomes is about as legit as it gets. How many touchdowns passes has he thrown this season already?
He's so talented, and that play on 4th down was such a great flip. It's almost like Jeter-like from the A's game back in the day where he threw the player out at home. Mahomes is special. I love that game. Falcons Steelers is another one for the opposite reasons. The loser of this game will only have 1 win after 5 games. That's a big game for the Falcons and Steelers. You really can't feel good moving forward, whoever the loser is in that game. That's almost like an elimination playoff game. In fact, I think the team that loses will not make the playoffs. I just don't see how you can start off with 1 win after 5 games. I say that because the Steelers have a tie.
Go Falcons.
So big game that's a big game for the Browns. And I was going to hit on that point too, and you're right. Terrible Sunday night game. It's a Texas battle between Cowboys and Texans. Won't watch a second. And then for the last game of the year, the last game of the week, I should say, the Redskins versus Saints. That is a good Monday night game. Monday night games so far have been here and there on the radar, but I like Redskins Saints a lot. I think if you're a football fan, you should watch that. And that's up your neck of the woods too.
Yeah, I will. I think the Saints are going to end up pulling that one out as well.
No, I do. And then the last thing, and then we'll change over to college football. There's characters in life that come through Cleveland, and you always wonder, where'd they go, whatever. Well, Josh Gordon's definitely not one of those guys. He showed up big time last night on the Thursday night game. My opinion on it is that this is a typical Patriots move where a kid comes in and they know how to use him properly. It's very annoying. I don't want to see, ex-players going from the Browns in midseason and playing well for the Patriots. I don't like that. I'm happy for Josh as a person. That he's healthy and he's clean, but I find it very annoying. He's doing well, if I'm being honest, as a sports fan.
I only find it annoying because of, and again, I can't, it's not like I know exactly what happened in that locker room or what happens, with him and the front office, but it feels like he got all the help in the world from them, and then he didn't, it doesn't feel like he appreciated it.
No.
And I don't know where that comes from or why. But that touchdown pass, you know what? I'm not giving him that much credit. Talking about how to use them, it was a very strange looking touchdown pass for Brady's 500th. They both thread a needle as you watch Gordon weave through two defenders to make that reception. It was kind of incredible, but it almost looked. I mean, it looked Hail Mary-ish. It wasn't. It's a strange way for Tom to get his 500th. And, of course, in typical Browns fashion, a strange way to watch Josh Gordon get his first with the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm glad he's clean and sober, but it's annoying.
Yeah.
Sports fan, it's absolutely
annoying. I'm never going to harp on him for any of that. I do wish him the best. I've seen what substance abuse does to people, and it's a very scary thing. A lot of us have experienced that stuff in our lives, and to be alive and healthy and on a football field is good for him.
Yeah, speaking of that, there's a college football weekend that's coming around, and there's nothing like a good Indiana homecoming weekend for Ohio State after a big Penn State game. Ohio State plays Indiana this week. We're not going to break this down too much because I don't know how much there's really to break down. I've been hearing people, and it's true, Indiana seems to get fits lately to Ohio State. They are 4-1. All that said, Vegas tells you everything you need to know. They're 26-point favorite for a reason. Ohio State should really, even if the game's, I guess, somewhat tight at the end of the third quarter, I don't see possible. Ohio State should win this game going away. It's a nice breakup game for Ohio State after the Penn State game.
Yep.
I guess the thing that you got to really watch is the growth of Haskins, and just see how this team develops into a part of the season now where Ohio State doesn't really get challenged for the next 3 weeks. Minnesota's not going to really give them much, and how much I love Purdue. Purdue's not going to beat Ohio State in a big spot. So the next 2 or 3 games for Ohio State, can they keep improving while they're playing inferior competitions? Would be my point in these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, Ohio State, there's some of the opinion that not only Alabama, but the Buckeyes are pulling away in college football, have the potential to, especially led by Haskins. That possibility is there, and especially, we've talked about it in space. No one can catch them. They are. Ohio
State has athletes insane. That I will say it all year, and you said it, and I said it a lot last week. In space, Ohio State is some of the best players. Not only I've seen in the last few years, I've seen going back to the 90s with Ohio State. These Dobbins, Victor, these kids make plays in space. It's just amazing. Notre Dame plays Virginia Tech. That's a big game this weekend for my Irish. I really don't have a good read on Virginia Tech. They lost Old Dominion in a terrible game. They beat Florida State on the road. They beat Duke on the road. They're really a strange team, Virginia Tech, because that's a good win against Duke. Duke was ranked going into that game and is in Durham. Yet their defensive numbers are really showing that they're giving up tons of yards. It's a Bud Foster defense that's at night. It's at Virginia Tech. You have to figure that Virginia Tech will be up for that game. Would not be surprised if the Irish start off slow after a game like Stanford. So I can see the Irish having trouble initially. But again, to be honest with you, I think as the game goes on, I think it's just too much.
So, Notre Dame just got to loosen up a little bit. Book's got to stay loose. Is that really what it's come down to?
I think so. And remember, too, Virginia Tech starter is only having a second start for Tech. Now, he's a KU transfer, so he's played some games. But I just don't see Virginia Tech how they can last against Notre Dame. Wouldn't be surprised if it's close at halftime. Wouldn't be a bit surprised if it's close in the third. But I think as the game goes on, Notre Dame just too much. Wouldn't be surprised they tack on some late touchdowns to kind of pull away late. Just Virginia Tech just does not have the defense, even with the Bud Foster style, to keep up with the Irish. Irish should be able to win easily by 14 or more in this game, in my opinion. Even within Blacksburg tonight, I think it's just too much. The other games that we kind of teed up on, which we'll tee up on again, Oklahoma, Texas. That's a great game. Red River rivalry, noon start at the Texas State Fair, a great traditional game. Then LSU, Florida. I'll just pick them quick. I really love how everybody's hopping on the Tom Herman bandwagon, and rightfully so. He beat TCU. He followed that up with a win against USC the week prior. With all that said, though, I still think Oklahoma's the better team here.
Right.
And I know Texas has improved, and I've seen these strides, but I just don't think it's enough to beat Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma wins in a squeaker. And again, I feel the same way here. I know it's in Gainesville, and I know Florida's got a great coach in Dan Mullen. I like Dan a lot. I think he's going to turn around the program to bigger things. That said, I like LSU. People who listen to me, I love LSU. I think LSU is really good. And I think they win in a close game. 7 points, probably something like that. But I think LSU's has got too much. They're better athletes. They're really ready to win this year. Orgeron's really got that team playing well. LSU is not. They've already won a game at Auburn, so it's not a big deal to win on the road. Again, I think Florida plays up to the crowd. They play up to the scene. But I think as time goes on, I think LSU is too much. Wouldn't be surprised if Florida gets a late touchdown and keep it close, but I think LSU wins by 7 points on the road. And then I'll hit on this note, then we should chime in about anything else real quick on football. Nick Saban made some interesting comments.
Yeah, I was that's where I thought we were going.
Yeah. So Nick Saban made some interesting comments about how fans don't turn out to games against Louisiana Monroe. I believe they played last week.
And not only you have to hear it and hear the disdain and the arrogance and the privilege, I'll use that word, the privilege that came out in this pontificating that he displayed the other day.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at this. I mean, back when I grew up, you scheduled these games at the beginning of the year. As the year went on, you scheduled your opponents in conference or out of conference strong teams. So if you want to schedule this way, and again, they always do this the week before Auburn, they usually play like the Citadel or someone like that, a team that's a throwaway win. If you're going to schedule games like that, which is fine for strategic and winning purposes, your fans aren't going to get excited at the end of September to watch games like this.
No, you can only watch so much of 60-0 blowouts in the first half of a football game.
Right. Hey, opening week, you want to play Rice at home? Cool, go for it. Fans will put up with that.
It's background noise.
Yeah, as the season goes on, you can't expect fans to get up. I think Saban was really incorrect in his comments on that. And I'm a Coach Saban guy. But again, those kind of comments really misread. It's like, well, you built your schedule what's best for you to succeed. We all understand. That doesn't mean it's necessary what's going to be best for your fan base or for interest.
Right.
And again, how do you follow that up? Not your fault. Arkansas is terrible, and you play Arkansas this week. So I actually think, too, they're grasping at straws because there's nothing negative to talk about.
I think that Nick also, in his comments, sounded like a bad parent defending their spoiled brat kids. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like Nick was, these players deserve this, they deserve that, yada yada. He spoke in hyperbole. It was too much. It was reel it in. These kids, you're right, they work hard and they play football. Gotcha. But let's keep it to what it is, and to blame fans, you're not helping your cause.
Again, if you want fans to come to every game, and everybody plays these teams that are on that level, we're not naive, play them in the first 2 weeks of the year. As the season goes on, when you play these teams and you separate them in between conference games and big non-conference foes, fans aren't going to show up. And by the way, they shouldn't. There's no reason to get excited. You know what's going to happen. It's not even a game to get excited about. So, yeah, I don't really care to hear for that kind of stuff. Before we wrap up here, it's almost time for what we're doing now, the Triber About Race starting in 20 minutes.
I'm not missing any of that.
Yeah, we're not missing any of that. So
I love you, Andy, but we're hanging up.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got 2 minutes, and I got to roll. The last couple of things, there's a lot that's going on in college basketball. The federal trial began on Monday. It's just something to keep your eye on. I'm a big college basketball fan. There's a good article out there by Mark Schlabach that kind of runs down what's going on for people who want to read more about it. But the basic headlines are, Kansas, Louisville, Miami, and NC State are the big headliners on this. There's also some other coaches and staffs that are being drugged in from Arizona Creighton, DePaul, LSU, Maryland, Michigan State. For more details, read it. But it is something to keep your eye on because I don't think this story is going to contain itself and then that's it. I think you're going to hear more and more things come out. Yeah. That's why I think you should keep your eye on it. I don't think this story is just nipped in the bud.
Well, we talked about it. There's plenty of corruption. There's plenty of, well, I want to be easy on that word. There's these things go on throughout with players, with coaches, with everyone involved. So, pinning down blame is a very difficult thing. And there's a lot of money involved.
We can do a whole separate podcast on it with AAU coaches and travel teams and scouts. I mean, I've dealt a lot of it in the documentary world and being around the sports world. it's a whole different level. All I'll say is this is actually some good that's coming out that's going to be painful at first, because I think a lot of people who cheer for these squads and these teams are going to maybe get drugged into and get punished severely, not just lightly, severely. But again, keep your eye on it. I don't think that story's contained. I think there's going to be more to come. And finally, kind of playing off that, LeBron's production group did an HBO documentary really hitting on student athletes. I've not watched it yet. I will watch it, and I'll get my thoughts about it in the next week or two on the podcast. But for people who haven't, LeBron's production group's really going into this world a lot. They do a lot of barbershop stuff too. I need to check that stuff out. But, LeBron's really hitting on a point on a documentary or a docufilm. I don't know how they have it listed, but I'm assuming it's a documentary they're putting it at.
Well, two things on that. I feel like, number one, you can't ignore, as much as you might love LeBron, there's an agenda there. So you've got to go into any of the stuff that he puts out with an open mind. There is going to be a slant. And sometimes that's fine, because you're illuminating, you're putting a light, you're shining a light on something that needs to be shined on. The other thing that it goes to is, this again speaks to me of his bigger plan of going to LA had to do with these sorts of projects, and getting the money to be able to have them happen.
Absolutely. And I don't think he shied away from it. I think he's been pretty upfront about it. I think that's probably some of the reaction why people have had mixed vibes back in LA, which I don't think is fair either. I mean, the guy's allowed to have a different life all on top of the basketball court, but those are things to watch.
Basketball.
Yeah, well,
shut up and dribble.
A lot of people are going to say that, but I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I feel free. Anybody try out what they want to do in life, and LeBron certainly has the right to do whatever he feels is best for him and his family. Hopefully the Browns prove me right, Jared. I'm going out. I think I'm going to, we're one of the few people here that likes the Browns this week. A lot of Browns negativity. Hopefully this is the year where it's not same old talent and brings a bad loss. I think because of Baker Mayfield, because of Myles Garrett, I think there's enough talent to get them out of the drugs. I really hope they prove me right when we talk next week. I would love to see them beat the Ravens on top of me just being right. I really want to beat the Ravens badly. It's been a while. Too long.
With or without Hue.
Again, the Hue roller coaster, that's my last note I'll end on. Because I think they win, I think we'll have another one of these podcasts where it's like, here's another must win. I think there's more to come. And by the way, if the Browns do lose, I think I just don't know who can recover. Well, I don't think they can.
You win one, and then you got to win another, and that's a winning streak, right?
Exactly, and that's what the Browns can sorely need at this point.
He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson. This is Cleveland and Beyond. We're going to go watch the Indians Game 1 ALDS in Houston right now. So that's the end of this. Andy, great talking to you, and can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, Monday should be fun. Hopefully we'll talk about Tribe and Browns victories. Roll Tribe, go Brownies.
All right. Take care, brother.
See you.